Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the URC. So far, 3 matches played involving South African sides, all being separated by less than 5 points. In this one, Stormers taking on Munster. There is a chance it could be just as close. Both sides stacked with talent. Damian Valimza playing number 10 for this contest. So I am intrigued to see how he goes and whether or not he is one of the names that we see in Rassie Erasmus's Springbok November side. But looking through at the Stormers lineup, it is Sitoli, Joseph Dweber and Nedeling Fouché as the front row, Andre Smith at number 4 and JD Schnickerling there as the number 5, Marcel Tennyson, Ben Jason Dixon, and then Kiki Morabi as number 8. So a big forward pack. You could mention that there are a couple names possibly missing from them overall, but still a very strong side for the Stormers here. Paul de Vet and Damian Valimza will be the 9-10 combination with Dan Duplessis and Ruan Nel in the midfield. Lillian Zas, Hudson Berg and Warwick Hillant at number 15. So there will be plenty of speed in the back three for the Stormers. They really enjoy that counter-attack and play. And Munster, their defence will have to be very strong for Munster in their side. It is Jeremy Luckman, Niall Scannell and John Ryan as the front row. Jean Klein there as the number 4 with Tyke Byrne at 5. Then Hearn, Kendallin and Jack O'Donoghue make up the trio, the loose forward trio, I should say. I'm very excited for this game, as you can probably tell. Connor Murray and Jack Crowley as the 9-10 combo. Alex Nankerville at 12. And then on the outside, Farrell, Daly, Nash and Haley there as the number 15 for Munster. Now, the table has changed a little bit since this was taken. The Lions got themselves, yet again, another win, so they moved up to 2nd. Now we saw the Sharks get themselves a big win over Glasgow, so they move up to 10th. And there is still plenty of opportunity for a lot of movement here for these two sides. If Munster were able to get themselves the away victory, they would more than likely boost themselves up around that 5th place, if not maybe even a little bit higher, and as high as maybe 4th would be on the cards for Munster if they were to win. For the Stormers, the start of the season has not been what they were wanting. 1 win, 2 losses. Their points differential, when you look at it compared to all the sides above them, it's actually pretty decent. They haven't had that really bad game as of yet. They've just lost 2 of their opening 3. And they've got a chance here, if they do win this game, to go up to around maybe 11th or 10th, somewhere around there. So plenty to be gained for both of these sides throughout this contest. For the Stormers, Andre Hugo Venter off the bench with Brock Harris as well as Sunday, Ruben van Heeren and Ewers there at number 20. Then Nel Yankees, or Elton Yankees, or sorry, not Elton, he's certainly not back, but Herschel Yankees is back in that number 22 jersey. And then Matea at number 23. Billy Burns off the bench for Munster alongside Wickerley and also Stephen Archer, another man to watch out for later on, up against Brock Harris. But in the chat, we have got Hi from Ninja Gaming. Welcome in. I hope you are doing very well. I don't think Munster, with all their missing players, will have it in the tank, says Jimbo. And just run JD Schnickerling past me again there, Hamish, says Grant. I think I did butcher the name, didn't I? A little bit. How's it, Hamish? Hope all is well, says Suckabulla. Doing very well, thank you, mate. Hopefully you are doing well too. And last week's game for the Stormers was not great, says Grant. And hi all, and Hamish, says Robert V. And Valimza at 10, let's see, says a bystander. And there as well, but looking through at the previous fixtures overall, I mean, 36 points to 5 up against Zebre, to then go and get 38 points to 7 up against Edinburgh. Something definitely changed throughout those 2 games, because we've got to remember, Zebre, they've kept a few sides pretty close this year. We saw the Lions only defeated, or managed to defeat them by 1 point. Stormers winning comfortably to then go and pretty much have the same score put on them the week after. A little bit of a lopsided one, which is why that points differential is still relatively even, because they also got themselves that big win for Munster, 23-0, and then losing up against Leinster, 26-12. They weren't quite firing in that Irish derby, but there is a chance if they can come out firing here. We know that they've got some decent performances under their belt in South Africa, so perhaps this could be another one here for Munster. And also, while we're at it, we'll mention what is coming up for these two sides. The Stormers will be playing Glasgow next week. The Sharks, they will be taking on Munster. So pretty much the 2 games involving South African sides, the one that we just covered and this one, they are just swapping opponents. Nice, easy way of looking at it. Glasgow Warriors heading to take on the Stormers, and Durban will be welcoming Munster as well. We have got there ours at Hamish Opal as well, and Schickerling, Schickerling. No, I don't even know how to say that other one, Grant, but I assume that's how I was saying it. Possibly. Might have stuck an N in there somewhere. And except for the Bulls, all is well, says Sakabula. Yeah, like the Lions are sitting 4 from 4 in the early stages of the URC, which is exactly what some people weren't anticipating. But the Lions, I do think, were one of the underrated sides of last year. They pulled off some great wins over tough opposition. But unfortunately, when it came to making that top 8, they just slightly missed out. No, I can't even speak. I'm still thinking about whether or not I've added an N in there originally. Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu, we miss him. Says bystander. Although Damien Willemser at 10 is not a terrible option for the Stormers, I will say. And the fact that Warwick Gallant now gets that opportunity at 15, I think is going to work quite nicely for the Stormers side. It's just about handling some pressure, because in that game up against Edinburgh, like the defence just opened up at times, and it was try after try for the Edinburgh side. But I mean, it's a nice afternoon where they are playing. Where are they playing? Are they playing next to Cape Town Stadium? I thought they were in Cape Town Stadium for this game, but it looks like the secondary pitch next door. What's on at Cape Town Stadium that they couldn't play in the actual stadium, I wonder? I'm sure one of you guys will know. That's what happens when you light a Rassi, you disappear, says Sakabula. Well, that's the thing. He did cause himself more damage, and Rassi was not happy with him. He pretty much said, nah, well, go away and actually get better first, and then we might select you. You see the two sides warming up on the training pitch next door, but I assume this is the one that they are actually going to be playing on. It's got the nice marked lines. Hamish now for the main game. Says Ilmar, so I do want your score predictions, ladies and gents. Who do you think will be winning this game? Can the Stormers pull off a big win after being defeated by 31 points, or will Munster be able to fire back after their Leinster defeat and get themselves back on track for the URC playoffs? I have to say, though, with this game taking place in 2 minutes, the sides don't look anywhere near ready. They're still doing the warm-up training drills and whatnot. So unless I'm wrong, this game might be starting a little bit late, I would say, unless these are the two teams warming up outside of the ground. Could be the case. But yeah, it's supposed to kick off in 2 minutes' time, and there's no sign of that happening. But also do let me know the first try scorer. Ladies and gents, I feel like there is a good chance that we see an early try coming from the Stormers, just because I feel like that home field advantage should help them out a little bit. I think it's going to be from Hudson Berg. He's been scoring quite a few tries recently. That man, Lillian Zas, also a very handy option out on the other wing. And like I mentioned, that back three at the moment for the Stormers is extremely dangerous, having Warwick Gallant there. Both sides are still warming up. And we're 1 minute away from kickoff. Has there been a delay of some sort, ladies and gents? Do let me know. Because it just doesn't look like either side is about to start playing rugby in 1 minute's time. I see a tram going past, I think it is. A first try will come from a forward. Ooh, so you're going the big boys at the front. Are you saying a forward for Munster or a forward for the Stormers? I assume you're back in a Stormers man. Hi, Hamish, thanks for the coverage. Says Regine, no worries at all. Thank you very much for being here for this live stream. We were away for the last 2 weeks, which is why we didn't have any streams on the channel, but we are now back and we're raring to go for some more URC as well as international rugby. Just around the corner, the All Blacks playing Japan in the next one. This game's not starting yet. I'm not sure what time it's supposed to start, though. I'm sure it was a 5 a.m. kickoff for this contest. We'll just have another quick look. I think the other game that was starting at 5:15, it might end up starting for this one at this rate. And it's us for the first try, and still showing a 5 p.m. kickoff. Yeah, so I'm not sure what the go is, to be honest. I hope that we get some information. I can't hear commentators. They're just on the training pitch at the moment, but I would assume that they're only like 5-10 minutes away from starting up. Looks like teams are having a bit of a huddle at the moment. The forwards and the backs separated a minute later already. Says Jimbo. Yeah, both sides are still doing their pre-match warm-ups. And 6 p.m. South African time. Yeah, so that was 1 minute ago, I believe, if I'm correct, Rhoda. It's quite interesting watching them warm up because that's something that you don't normally get to see. Mainly because like you get a couple clips of it and then from there they go back to the commentators, they show the stats, they show the lineups and everything along those lines. There's a lot of players out there on there do the Jimbo Limbo, and Cape Town is always laid back. Says Sean there. And where can I watch? Says Bianca. It does depend on whereabouts you are in the world. I believe in South Africa the best option is DSTV. If you are outside of South Africa, URC TV might be a good application to get. Sorry, 6 or 18, says Rhonda. Or Rhoda, I should say. But yeah, in terms of free options, if you've got a VPN, you could set yourself to New Zealand. And then you can watch this one on TVNZ+. But it's a bit tricky because some VPNs don't actually let you watch it. And Mother City, for a reason, takes 9 months for things to get started, says Bystander. It was a bit of a multi-layered one, Bystander. I quite enjoyed that one. Even though my face looked serious at the time, I'm in Cape Town to the Sandlam tomorrow. So I'm going to catch the game. The game starts at 7 p.m. and it's 6 p.m. at the moment. Does it? Is the game actually in an hour? Surely not. Is it? Marathon 42k race. Yeah, you better get some decent sleep if you're running 42ks, I would say. 42ks would almost get you to the nearest KFC from me, but not quite. You'd have to dig in for an extra maybe about 10ks. To get there, it's playing, says Bystander. Why is it in New... Like, are they live on the field at the moment? Why are we... Okay, so the coverage here in New Zealand still has them warming up. Weirdly. So I might have to quickly find another way of watching it for a start. But yeah, it says it's 3 minutes in at the moment. This is really weird. So the coverage here in New Zealand doesn't actually have them playing as of yet. Yes, 2 minutes in, says Bystander. One moment, we will go like this. And like that. And yeah, hopefully they do catch up very soon. I was wondering why it hadn't started. But yeah, for us here in New Zealand, they've still got the training taking place. They're showing the players on the secondary pitch, I believe, still warming up from maybe about 20 minutes ago. Or somewhere around there. Well, we will go like this. And like this. And like that. Hopefully it will work. Started already. A game over, 3-3 draw. Says BM. I guess it's in an hour. I hope I send you an image. Says Regine in there as well. But yeah, they're still showing the teams warming up here in New Zealand. They're delayed a little bit. I'm going to try and reset it and see if that helps. Watch from live. Now, live still has them warming up for us here in New Zealand. It's always Stormers games. I have noticed that they seem to mess up here in New Zealand. Hopefully we do get the coverage in a very short moment. Like I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, we will keep you updated with the score while it is taking place. Currently sitting at 0-0 between these two sides. But eventually they got to start the kickoff, don't they? We got the thinking face from Robert. And Munster versus the Stormers. A very dangerous back three for the Stormers in this contest. Nankerville and Tom Farrell will be a handy combo for Munster in that midfield. And also the locking duo, Jean Klein and Tyke Byrne. One to watch out for the Munstermen. In terms of this South African fullback, I mean, Ben Jason Dixon still wants to prove that he should be in that Springbok squad. He's had some good moments, daylight saving in New Zealand, says Sean Gunter. Yeah, although, like, it's got everything correct, right? It says what time the game's starting, which is 5 minutes ago. It's got everything about it. Let's go to Stormer, Mr. Razzle Dazzle. Damien Valimza is back, says Danian. And also, we got their Stormers should win. They should, but it's whether or not Munster can make it competitive and try and really push them throughout this contest, because I feel like Munster need a good start. Because if they're unable to do that, it may be a bit of a struggle to get back into this contest. But saying that, like, Munster are also a side that have come back in games in the last 20 minutes or so. A few of the URC matches last year up against South African sides do come to mind. They really were able to make it competitive. Yeah, here in New Zealand, we've still got the kids walking across the field with some flags. So hopefully that changes in the near future. Or else we're in a little bit of trouble. We have to just wait until they realise that their coverage is delayed, because the game is taking place. We're currently 6 minutes into the contest, still 0-0 between these two sides, but sadly we do not have any sort of update on where they are on the field. Oh, there we go. The Stormers have just scored. You're 5 minutes behind. I certainly am, but for me, they're just showing the players warming up here in New Zealand. Munster ever lost to the Stormers? I think so. I think they have. They've had some really strong performances up against the Stormers. Kudos for the live commentary, bro. Proteas women versus the Kiwis, says Danian. That's going to be an awesome one when it does take place tomorrow night. That'll be at 3 a.m. for us here in New Zealand. The Stormers, they are the side that have been able to strike first, even though it hasn't actually set it on the app that I'm using either. It's so weird. It seems like for some people this game hasn't started, and for others it's actually taking place, and the Stormers have scored a try. Hudson-Berg try. Oh, we did predict him to be able to score that first try of the contest. Yeah, for me, both sides are just about to make their way out of the tunnel. And Hamish Wright says Efright Eileen. So due to Salman or San Lam Marathon tomorrow, there is no motor vehicles allowed to Greenpoint Stadium. That's the reason for the 7 p.m. Says Regime, for me, the game's still loading, says Emiliano. Yeah, see, I'm the same. They've got them just coming out of the tunnel soon with the kids waving the flags for myself. Whereas for some people, this game is fully well and truly started, and the Stormers have scored the first try of the contest, with Hudson-Berg being the man who was able to score it. But it does seem like they don't realise that they're delayed on this one. So we're already 8 minutes in, and we are still waiting for the coverage to kick in here in New Zealand. The thing is, the last Stormers game we tried to do, in fact, no, the last Stormers game went all right. The game before that, it didn't show here in New Zealand. And I think that was going to be for the Curry Cup. And yeah, I have a time difference as well. Munster won by 6, says Kerr. Oh, you're ahead of everyone in that case, Kerr. And spot on with Hudson-Berg scoring, says Ilmar. I just wish I could have seen it. What match are you doing next? Next, we have got a match next week. I believe it will be Japan versus New Zealand. We might do the Bulls-Benetton game in the morning, but more than likely the next one that we are doing will be that international match between New Zealand and the Japanese, which does mean we'll have plenty more videos coming out in the near future. You need a dodgy box to watch your rugby, says one peer. See, that's the thing. Like, they're normally not too bad. Like, the first match that we did of the day, Sharks versus... Oh, hang on, it's just frozen. Is that because they've realised... No, never mind. They're just still waiting for the players to make their way onto the field. But yeah, Hudson-Berg, the man who did score the first try for the Stormers. I think it's more annoying that they're showing the pre-match stuff. I'll show you a link via Instagram. What's your Insta? Says the bystanders. It is _Kiwi_lads. My stream is so slow, I'm still watching the Lions Zebra game live. Oh, okay, that's quite far behind, to be fair. Right, we will see whether or not we can get this one to work a little bit. Hopefully it does. It is currently loading. And please don't spoil, in some countries it's delayed, says Emiliano. Yeah, I'm wondering why it's delayed for 50% of people. Because I assume on DSTV it would be fine. But yeah, for me, they are still just about to welcome the players out onto the field, which is a bit strange. because it's like a solid 15 minutes behind live at the moment. It's Graham Stormer's short arm. Says Juan-Pierre Bosch. Of course, this is the worst thing to happen when you are trying to do a commentary of a game, is the game not to work. Does make it relatively difficult. See what else I can find for it while it still doesn't load. I do apologise for this, ladies and gentlemen. You do expect normally for a broadcaster that does the games to show the game live, but it just doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. We'll go here. We'll go here. Right. I've got the game, I believe. At the moment, it's a 10 minutes in one, and it's a little bit laggy, but we've got some sort of coverage. Warwick Gallant just kicking that one downfield, ladies and gents. We will hopefully have a bit more of an updated one as we get further through. I didn't feed the gerbil in 2 weeks. Massive position won by the Stormers. I should have said the game officially started. However, it's a long queue into the ground. Says Regine, I think there's a supernatural presence in your room messing up with your stream, says Kerr. Did you see that video, Kerr? I assume you did, from the entertainment channel. People would think that me and George were extremely high while we filmed that, but Mike Cayley looks like he's got a bit of an injury here for Munster. The last thing that they want is an early player going down. Fire Sports, PTV stream, it's okay, not always the best. Says Juan, and you good, forgot the feed, says Bystander. I've got a different feed than normal, but at the moment it does seem to be working. So while it is working, we will go with it. I'm back, Cammy. Stormers by 20 plus. Right, it's a tackle off the ball, so it is going to be the penalty going the way of Munster. Actually, backup streamers up and running, says Grant. We have got one now, which is good. Hopefully it ends up sticking around. Please, you're alive and back, says Sean. It is good to be back. Like I said, 2 weeks is a very long time to not be streaming for us on YouTube. So at the moment, it's very good to be back. Took the words right out of my mouth on the entertainment channel, says Robert V. Now the penalty does go the way of Munster, so Jack Crowley will be kicking this one towards the touchline. Does get it out. About 22 metres from the line now. Just the one try being scored so far. That was from Hudsonberg. Now line out throw for Niles Scannell. 7 men in the line out. This is looking a little bit like a rolling maul. Might be on the cards here. Going to be thrown in and nicely stolen by the Stormers. Paul DeVette, though, makes the mistake and gives it straight back into the hands of Munster. Jeremy Luckman goes to the short side. Hudsonberg saying that he was held in. In fact, it was Lillian Zuss. Now off to the right-hand side. Can Munster get straight back into this contest? Murray goes across to Kendallin. The reason it's delayed a live coverage, the city of Cape Town has attempted to get international recognition to the host the marathon, says Regine. 5 phases in at the moment. From Munster. Kendallin, big shot on him once more. Connor Murray recycles quickly, goes to Tyg Burn, forward pass by Munster, no try. There's Juan, that's going to be passed on the outside now. Nice stepping from Shane Daly. Connor Murray, inside ball, goes to Jack O'Donoghue. Oh, that was almost a turnover for the Stormers. Tyg Burn. Again, 5 metres out. They are doing extremely well at the moment. Big wide cutout pass, and it is going to be ruled back. Is the 4 pass, so it's the 12th minute. It is indeed, yep. 12 minutes in at the moment. And the score currently is sitting 7-0. Hudsonberg, the lone try scorer for the Stormers, which we actually predicted. But I don't want to make any extra predictions because I'll probably get them wrong. Oh. Tell you what, it wasn't a mile forward. My game is on now at 13 minutes, says Emiliano. So Munster, a little bit of strapping going on to John Ryan's thumb and wrist. Cape Town will be known for the best city. to travel to for rugby travellers, says Juan Pierre Bosch. And at that like and sub, guys, says Spider Mech in there as well. Yeah, that is heavy strapping on that wrist. I thought that was enough when they first did it, and then he's wrapped up a little bit more just to make sure that wrist doesn't move. Quite a few Stormers supporters in the stands by the looks of it for this contest. %64 possession at the moment, 66% territory. It was a strap-on. John Ryan is the man that you're looking for. It's South Africa versus New Zealand again in the final women's cricket, says Sean. Yeah, it's going to be taking place in less than 24 hours' time. Oh, I see what's happened. TVNZ, they've got Stormers versus Munster written down, but they're showing Edinburgh versus Cardiff is why they had the mistake. It's going to be scrum standing up with another scrum reset. We'll lose Spider. Yeah, so that's where the confusion has been. So pretty much the coverage was correct. They just had the wrong game that they were going to be showing, which is quite a big mistake because I would assume that they don't have licensing for the game that they're showing at the moment, because I think they only lock in South African licensing as well as playoff games or important big derbies. So it'll be an interesting one for them. I was unaware women's cricket was a thing. Not mean in a bad way. Says Kerr. Yeah, Cricket World Cup currently taking place. Someone with your last name has the same last name for New Zealand. That was a really weird way of saying there's someone called Amelia Kerr in the New Zealand team. Kick downfield from Warwick Kalunt. Does get the ball into touch once again. Does look relatively unhappy with the meters that has been made off that kick there for Warwick Kalunt. Stormers, they're under a little bit of pressure, been inside of their 22 a few times, but haven't crumbled as of yet, which is the main thing. Another line out for Niall Scannell. From what is all in and heard there, says Kerr. Yeah, oh, that's a terrible pass. Over the top. Goes into Dutch. Which channel? I think it's on Premier Sports 1, if you're in a certain region of the world. It's on DSTV, I want to say 201, but I always get the number wrong for you guys in South Africa. Good morning, says Chad. I will mention it is not on TVNZ Plus here in New Zealand. Instead, they've got Edinburgh versus Cardiff on that one. Joseph Dweber now to throw this ball in, nicely claimed at the front. And DSTV 201, yes, says Emiliano. And New Zealand women versus South Africa women tomorrow. Come on, ladies, says bystander. Yeah, my sleep schedule's a bit broken at the moment, but I feel like I want to make sure I watch that game live. Not easy to predict URC games, just follow your heart, I guess, says Arthur. Another kick of mine from Warwick Kalunt, trying to play a bit of the territory game, and then it's going to be cleaned up at the back by Shane Daly, who was under a lot of pressure from the Stormers' defence. Hamish, the Greenpoint Stadium, in my view, is the best ground views in the world. Awesome ocean views and Table Mountain in the background, says Regine there. Thank you so much for all the commentary today. I don't have DSTV, so all I have, says Robert. No worries at all, and we are going to be back for the international games throughout November, plus the URC next week. Loya tried to tune in on TVNZ, but got the other game. Yeah, so I don't know what they've done there to press the wrong button or whatever they've done, but I guess if you like Edinburgh Cardiff, could be a good game. 16 minutes in at the moment. Going to be the Stormers again with the line-out throw of Joseph Dweber. 6-man line-out. I feel like they want to get it out to the wingers. Hudsonberg already managing to score himself one try in this game. I'm ready to throw this one in, like and sub, folks. Says bystander, it's going to be overcooked. And now Munster managing to clean it up. Jack Crowley with the wide cutout pass. Daly, long way off his wing, but manages to find Tom Farrell with the ball. Murray, back across to Niles Scannell. And Joseph Dweber back to his old line-out trick, says Grant. Yeah. There was one half patch, though, where Joseph Dweber seemed like his line-outs had got better. But unfortunately, that was about all it was. It was just a little short moment. That's going to be a good contest in the air. The ball's going to go onto the side of Watakalunt, who's gone with another kick in behind. Awkward bouncing ball, but well handled by Jack Crowley, who will now send it downfield on his left. Yes, Robert. Hamish commentary is excellent. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. That is a great kick from Jack Crowley. Close to the touchline. Damien Valimza having to retreat. Charge down. And Shane Daly, all he has to do is get that ball, but there is Lelion Zus to be able to get that ball back. Counter ruck from Munster. Short side. That is terrific work in the breakdown. And Tom Farrell scores the try for Munster. But it was a kick charge down off the boot of Damien Valimza. Then from there, Daly, all he needed was to get a favourable bounce. But Lilian Zus shooting in. Managing to get that change. Get the possession back for Munster. But a great kick from Crowley. All from the mistake. Shane Daly, he's done very well to block that one. And then from there, Lillian Zus, like they've said, they had to maintain discipline. And it was just a three-man counter ruck. Tyke Byrne, rather than running it himself, passed it out to Tom Farrell. And that was a very clean counter ruck try, which you don't really see too often. Normally it gets a bit scrappy. But Munster now getting themselves their first points of the day. My rugby is equal now with your commentary, says Emiliano. Yeah, so for myself, I'm currently exactly 19 minutes in. For anyone who is trying to synchronise it. South African team's always making it difficult for the fans. Says bystander. And that one's gone over from Crowley. That'll make the score now 7-all between these two sides after just the 19 minutes. I am very curious to see how both of these sides answer from here, because Munster, I think, will try and up the tempo because they've started to put a little bit more pressure on the Stormers at times, whereas the Stormers, they have to try and find that kicking game because they've been trying it and they have had some success, but if they're going to stick with it, they've got to get those kicks precise and really force Munster into their own territory. Oh, nicely taken again by Munster. Now Connor Murray back into the pocket to Jack Crowley. This time sending it downfield on his right boot. Taken by Damien Valimza. Goes back across to Watakalunt. We'll look for the 50-22. Trying the flat one, but Munster have been able to read it at the back with Jack Crowley. Goes for the chip in behind. Waiting for the bounce of the ball. It's an awkward one. A little bit of push and shove there between Crowley and Paul the Vet. The Vet not happy about getting a shove in the back. Managed to get around the first line of defence there, Jack Crowley, with his little chip. And Munster show some muscle or intent that Stormers are more intent than Stormers at this point. So Dweber, nicely thrown in now. Going back away to the left-hand side. The big run forward from Marcel Tennyson. The Vet told to use it. About 45 metres out from the Stormers line. Chasing after this one, it is Hudson Berg, but it's well claimed. Ooh, that was almost a head-on-head from Ben Jason Dixon and Shane Daly. Munster looks strong. There's Emiliano. Big run forward from Jeremy Luckman. And that's the thing, Munster, oh, he's dropped that one, though. That ball's going to be loose, and the penalty actually goes the way of Munster. I don't see the Stormers doing well this season, says Tyler. Yeah, it's going to be an intriguing one because they have still got a very strong side, the Stormers. And I think that certain injuries might play factor a bit, but, you know, like, they've got potential. It's just they haven't really found, I guess you could say, just consistency in the early stages of the comp, from winning a game by about 25 points to then losing a game by about the same margin. It was a big difference across the 2 weeks. But the good news is they're on the try sheet already. Question is it going to be their only try? Can they keep on up in this tempo? Munster currently, though, having a lot more of the attack throughout the first quarter of the game. 22 minutes in, another line out here for Niall Scannell. This will be about 30 metres out from the try line. Nicely claimed. They have got themselves the advantage as well. Connor Murray goes short ball to Jack O'Donoghue. Geez, it's very early in the season to be riding off any team, says Grant. Yeah, at the end of the day, we're only in round 5 of the comp, and we've got a lot more. Oh, that's a good shot coming in from Ardre Smith. In fact, that might have been JD Schickerling. I missed your coverage the past few weeks, says Regine. Yeah, I was on holiday, but now I am back, ready to go for plenty more streams over the next few weeks. On into that international season where there is just game after game after game. And URC next week alongside the All Blacks versus Japan actually taking place next Saturday. Right, 5 metres out from the line now. Niall Scannell ready to throw this one in. We got the super sticker from Emiliano. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated for your donation. 23 in, and that's a big throw, and it's gone over the top. And Damien Valimza claiming it 10 metres from his own line. Stormers have been told to use it. It's going to be kicked downfield, but it was touched. They will try their best to keep this ball in the field of play. Munster, Shane Daly, awkward bouncing ball, rough pass. Haley has managed to hang on to it. Now Murray goes off to the left-hand side to Niall Scannell. Little flick pass out the back. Some great skills from the hooker. Inside ball back to Alex Nankerville. Oh, that was almost a knock-on. No, in fact, it's gone backwards. And it's going to be an advantage now against the Stormers. Now Niall Scannell finds another offload to Crowley from a standing start. That was almost an ugly one. Looks like there's another player down. Moment, I'm not too sure who it is. Might be Kendallin. The pass not flashed there. It's going to be the Stormers now who have got themselves the line out. And yep, last 2 seasons they've shown they get into the top 8, then 3 games and you win the title, even away from home, says BMVZ. So he just wanted that next pass, Calvin Nash. But it was the rush defence from Hudsonberg that managed to shut it down. Looks like Niall Scannell actually down. There's been a lot of injuries in this game. We've already seen Haley down. We've seen Scannell down. We've seen John Ryan down. Mainly injuries for Munster. Where's Lebock this season? I believe he's available. They just decided to go with Valimza as the number 10, and then also off the bench, they've got Mattia. So I think Lebock's just sitting out for this week. And we have got another donation from Emiliano. Who's your favourite URC team? It's a tough one. I feel like because I'm pretty neutral, it makes it very easy to like a lot of teams. I like the Bulls in terms of their squad, in terms of the mix of the backs and the forwards that they've got available. Like they're going to be a tough side to beat this year, but I mean, they just got beaten. But that's the unpredictability of the URC, which is why it's so entertaining. You just never know who's going to cause those upsets. Lebock is still on Springbok rest. He'll be available from for selection from next week, says Grant. Stormers, says Rowan. Right, that one was the outside shoulder, they've said. Not straight line out from Joseph Dweber. He holds his hand up. Thanks, Grant. Says Sakili there. And the Stormers, says Rowan. And there as well. Do let me know, ladies and gents, who do you think will score the next try? We're 25 minutes in. I really don't want to give a player prediction because I got the first one right. So I feel like if you get the first one right, that's That's me done for the day. But yeah, do let me know exact player who you think will be able to score. All Blacks XE going to beat Munster. I wouldn't guarantee it. This Munster side is strong. But then the benefit that they'll have is most of the Irish internationals won't be there for Munster. So, you know, you're looking at no Conor Murray, no Jack Crowley, no Calvin Nash. Who else? No Tyke Byrne. A couple of the front rowers as well won't be there. It's going to be the penalty now going the way of Munster. I've decided to kick for the corner again here. That's a bold call. And Minento, I should say, as said Labok is in Misbok. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the squad. With the injury of Sasha Feinberg and Ngome Zulu, do we see Valimza just take that spot, or are we going to see another 10 added in? Do you watch Tonga vs the Kangaroos, Hamish? I haven't watched it yet. I know who won it, but I haven't actually watched the game as of yet. That's going to be nicely taken by Tyke Byrne, and now the rolling maul for Munster will start up. Got Clark on the back after Niall Scannell made his way from the field, and that is a big rolling maul, and he's through, and Munster will score themselves another try. The Lions looking good so far, but the big test is next week. If they can get some points there, they'll be highly rated, says BMVZ. But that is going to be Clark scoring. Like I mentioned, only just made his way onto the field for Niall Scannell, who's unable to continue in this game, and only the second try. The rolling maul, it just took off. Seemed like all the Stormers players ended up going one way. Munster rolled around the rolling maul. They managed to go through to get themselves the points. Decent Munster contingency by the looks of it at Cape Town Stadium as well. The ref in the red card, a lot to do with the Bulls lost this time, says Mario. Jack Crowley, he's sitting 1 from 1 at the moment. Peter Lakai in the AB squad, he certainly is, as well as Josh Lord getting that goal up. We had a separate video that we were going to upload yesterday, I think it was, and it was about players who I thought could make their way into the squad, and it was actually a bit of a comparison one, looking at Super Rugby stats and everything, comparing them with players who were in the squad. But seeing as the All Blacks made quite a few changes, I don't know whether or not I will still put that video up, because that kind of, you know, that kind of happened in terms of Peter Lakai. What happened to the Black Ferns, Hamish? Says Manny M, they lost, unfortunately. A couple times they've been struggling a little bit. I wouldn't completely count them out, though. I feel like there's still plenty left in the tank for them. Right, 12 points to 7. The kick was missed from Jack Crowley. Now kicked off by Damien Valimza, and really nicely taken. Now Haley breaks through 1. Murray going to the left-hand side. Do you watch the Gallagher Prem? Only occasionally. So the problem that we've got here in New Zealand is I think there's only one channel that shows the Gallagher Premiership, but most of the time it overlaps with a URC game. So we end up watching the URC, and then I can't get a replay of the Gallagher Premiership. But anytime I've watched a Premiership game, it's always been very enjoyable. Like, I remember watching one a few years ago. I think it was Exeter Chiefs versus Harlequins, and the end score was about 44-42 or something. It went back and forth all throughout the second half. So, like, you can get some really good games in that comp. There are no obvious weaknesses in the Stormers. Are not quite the quality of previous years, says Sean. Jack O'Donoghue now playing half. Game is synced, says Emiliano. Now Murray, Crowley, goes across to Tom Farrell. He has already scored himself 1 try in this match, well isolated by the Stormers, though. Once they have been told to use it with Murray. Goes to the left again. The big man Clark, he is the other try scorer for Munster in this game. Rolling it back. He does put it high, Murray. So the Stormers, this is going to be dangerous, allowing the Stormers to run it from the back. Valimza dodges about 3 different defenders. Paul de Vet again. To Schickerling. Joseph Dweba looked like he was going to be playing halfback. In fact, he decides to. Goes off to Morabi. Tackled by Tom Farrell. There are some tired bodies already out there. Oscar Institute wants to play for England. So here's Manny M. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that, because the thing is, he's not getting in ahead of Ben Earl. So at best, he's coming off the bench for England, but that might still be the option that he looks at. But he'd end up in the same scenario as he is in with New Zealand, how he's not going to be the first choice option. And it's Razor's fault if Oskin plays for the Poms. Do you agree, Hamish? There's Manny M. It depends, because a lot of people like to blame Scott Robertson and say, oh, it's his fault. But Ian Foster didn't pick Costin Satutu, and the more coaches that don't pick him, maybe, just maybe, there is a reason for that. Maybe they're looking at the same thing. Looking at that defensive work rate, realising that when he's not on attack, he's nowhere to be seen. And maybe that's something that they don't really want. Oh, looked like Hudson-Berg almost did his ankle here. Trying to run across. Just a couple early mistakes coming from both of these sides. Now it is going to be the scrum, and Satutu won't make the England team. Satutu is a highlights player only. Says Grant. And Bulls were good for 30, then horrible for 50 minutes. Red card, not to blame for the bad loss. Says BM. VZ looks like more injuries. Hudson-Berg's getting a little bit of medical attention for his thumb, which looks like it's been cut open. And then also Munster have got themselves another injury this time. It looked like Alex Nank. In fact, that's not Alex Nankerville at 12. Unless Alex Nankerville has completely changed what he looks like. I think there might have been a head collision between a couple of players there. So they've said there it was shoulder to shoulder between the two players. We are currently 31 minutes through. But they've just said that they've checked both head contacts and there was nothing in them. So by the sounds of that, means we're going to be good to go to keep on going. 9 minutes remaining. Possession currently 59% in favour of Munster, 53% for the territory stat. Stormers, they wouldn't mind to get one more try though for the end of this half. If Munster score again, that is going to be a really tough second half for the Stormers side to try and get back into the contest, being down by 2 tries. Connor Murray to feed the ball in for Munster. It's a big push there from the Stormers, a knock on from Murray as well, and they will get the penalty. That's a massive push from the Stormers fullback, exactly what they needed. Joseph Dweba fired up. Oh, and now there's a push and shove. Almost a bit of a fight breaking out. Oh yeah, a bit of a push from Audrey Smith. Oh, a little bit more of a push between the sides. Bit feisty. Ref's pretty much just told Ruan now he has no idea why he was trying to start the fight. That one's gone into touch. That seemed like a really... Was that a poor effort from the Munster guy on the touchline there? Why did the ref not play advantage at that scrum? Says Grant. Yeah, to be fair, they were about to go, weren't they? Morabi had it in his hands. Although again, back to the back-to-back matches. Exhausting for you, Hamish. Says Judy. A little bit, although it's not too bad. I feel like next weekend's going to be the big one. I think we've got about 4 matches that are all within a 12-hour window. So that'll test the vocal cords as well as the sleep deprivity. Is that a word, deprivity? It sounds like a word, but I don't think it is one. Like sleep deprived, but deprivity. If it's not a word, we're writing it in the dictionary. Might as well. I don't know how you'd spell it, but we'll come up with it. Nice run forward here for the Stormers, though they are only a couple metres out from the line. Munster went for the turnover and they weren't able to get it cleanly in the deprivation, says Judy. So there's no word that is depravity. I don't know what depravity doesn't sound like. It's like, I don't know what it sounds like it is. That's close for the Stormers. I think they're over. Yes, they are. And they scored just before the halftime break. Pressure try. Says Juan Pierre Bosch there. Nope. Get in, says Grant. He's a happy man with that one. Depravity? Is that how it's spelled? To be deprived of something? Depravity? I don't know. Maybe. I feel like the worst thing that I can try and do is try and think of words at like 5:40 a.m. because my brain doesn't quite work as quick as it would during the day. But that is a really nice low attacking run there. Over 300 viewers. Let's get Hamish some likes. Says Gusky, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Stormers have the opportunity to take the lead here if this kick does go over, which likeliness is pretty high for Damien Valimza. Now ready to strike it, and he has got it over. How far are you ahead with the feed now? That's mad. Or how are you now ahead with the feed? That's mad. Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest. It just seems, yeah, because at the start we were miles behind because that was the Edinburgh game that it was shown, but I guess it skipped forward somewhere along the line. Press the like button, says Daryl. Oh, Niall Scannell back out onto the field for Clark, who did score himself the try. Press the like button, says Daryl, and it's 12-12, says Rowan Webber. Now it is 14-12 in favour of the Stormers. A nice take from, it would have been Dan Duplessis. Oh, giving him a wedgie there, Jean Klein. Marabi hits it up just that little bit further. And the Munster 15 looks like Ronan O'Gara with the scrum cap. Says Grant. Because did he start the game with the scrum cap, Haley, or did he put it on after he got a little bit injured? There's going to be another penalty. You know what, they found a bit of a rhythm here, the Stormers. Thanks for being with us from South Africa, Cape Town. Well done on the prediction. With South Africa versus New Zealand game, says Chris Well. Thank you very much. That's the thing, like, I got actually relatively close with a few predictions throughout the Rugby Championship. Of course, there were certain games that I was a mile off. But, yeah, I wasn't too bad with some of the predictions this year, which was quite nice, because normally I'm not great with them. That's a great kick from the Stormers as well. They will only be 5 metres out from the line. Jack O'Donoghue, the player who was penalised for changing his line. Not a smart move from that man. 4 Stormers penalties conceded so far. The 2 from Munster. But one of their 2 might be extremely costly here if Joseph Dweber can throw it straight. That wasn't the straightest line-out throw ever, but the refs decided might as well give him one or else he'll be stopping him every day. Oh, Marabi knocks it on. He went with the pick and go off the back. Just ended up dropping it, and the coach is not happy. That one was so important. Joseph Dweber goes over to Marabi. Tells him he knows what it's like to make a mistake. And Marabi, he does this too often, says Grant. Yeah, rolling forward. And just, I don't know how he's shot out there so quickly, but the ball just didn't come with him. Brock Harris not too happy about it either. We got another donation from this time Chris. Thank you very much, Chris. Greatly appreciated for your generosity. Handling errors, we're seeing 6 from Munster, 3 from the Stormers throughout this game, but only 2 minutes remaining in the first half and a close one between these two teams. So far, we've seen 3 games for South African sides, 2 of them split by 1 point, the other split by 4. So not a huge difference amongst them so far. Oh, it's going to be a reset again. Okay, the commentators are saying that Conor Murray didn't put the ball in because he knew his side was losing the scrum. Experienced veteran of the game. And I know you bugger. Hope you're well. I know you bugger. Like in person? Like you guys know each other? That's kind of small world. I went and watched some cricket today, and one of the guys on the team said that he had watched my All Blacks like videos, which was kind of cool. Now Conor Murray onto the right-hand side, Jean Klein. They got 1 minute left. They have to make a decision of whether or not they want to try and hang on to this ball and then boot it into touch or just boot it out now. Looks like they'll go for the booted out now option. Quick throw taken from Waterkalant. Gets it away to Damien Valimza. It was crunched there by Jack O'Donoghue. They got a chance on the short side here. That's an offload from Waterkalant. It looked pretty flat. But some great attacking. Oh, and now Joseph Dweba is the man who's dropped the ball. Him and Marabe, they'll be able to say to each other, hey, we've both done that now. And Stormers lose the ball and the carry is driving up my blood pressure. Says Grant, yeah, it's just, unfortunately, it's just the basics at the moment. Just Dweba overran it. He was looking ahead of him to see who he was going to run into rather than looking at that ball and taking it. 5 seconds remaining now in the half, so I believe all Munster will want to do here is get that scrum in, get it out, and put the ball into touch. In the first half, looks like Jeremy Luckman now has an injury. That's like the 5th or 6th Munster player who has been down with some sort of injury throughout this game. So we've seen a lot of injuries in this contest. Now, I should mention for anyone wondering about the Edinburgh-Cardiff game, if you don't want a spoiler of what's happening in that game, I will mention block your ears and look away for like 5 seconds. But the game at the moment between those two sides, it's sitting 5-3 to Cardiff. So a close one between those two sides. Okay, they're just saying Jeremy Luckman, it was actually the scrum is what actually caused them to have the injury. Waterkalant, 36 appearances. He looks like he's bulked up in the off-season a little bit, Waterkalant, although there's not really much of an off-season because the Curry Cup normally takes place in the time outside of the rugby window. Jeremy Luckman looks like he's going to tough it out for one more scrum. We're going to see that Waterkalant pass. Yeah, it was Ford, the one that we called, but they didn't give it. That's all right, though. Right, it's going to be 40 metres out. In fact, they might have gone back for it, have they? Looking at where... Oh, no, that was where Joseph Dweba dropped the ball. Very frustrating half, says Grant. And it will be interesting because normally for the Stormers, like, at least some of the games anyway, their trend has been their first half's actually the better half for them, and then second half is when it goes worse. So that might be a bit of a concern if that is the case. About to feed the ball in here. It's going to be Conor Murray. He will boot the ball into touch, say thanks very much for coming. And that is going to be the end of the first half between these two sides. Current score 14 points to 12. So the Stormers, they've got themselves the lead, but there were plenty of moments where they could have extended it. Joseph Dweba, a big smile on his face, although he is at his fair share of errors throughout the half, not straight line-outs, drop balls. And they got this come on the Stormers, says Rowan Webb. And there as well. 2 successful kicks from Damien Valimza. Jack Crowley missing his one, so that is the only difference now between these two sides. And bonus point, must here for Western Province and the Stormers, says bystander. And yeah, currently 2 tries have been scored by both of these sides. So we're actually very similar to what it was between the Sharks and Glasgow. Now that game in the second half had a lot more tries. We saw Glasgow get themselves 2 late ones, and also the Sharks managed to get one as well. It'll be interesting to see if the momentum continues in this contest and we see a whole heap more tries being scored or not. Second half, I would say, is about 10 minutes away. But I will ask the question while we are here. Next week, we get to see the 4 South African sides in action once again. So of the 4 games, which one are you looking forward to the most? Is it Benetton versus Bulls? Is it Stormers versus Glasgow? Sharks versus Munster? Or Leinster versus Lions? Do let me know. I've got an ad for an iPhone. It's as if they know that my phone is on 1% at the moment. But, fun fact, it will stay on 1% for another 30 minutes and will not end up running out of battery. I hope. Hi lads, it's Side to Canvas. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are keeping well. You're excited for not just the URC next week, but also the games that is happening a little bit later on for the international side of things. And hey lads, Sharks versus Munster, says Lilia B there. And they are always listening, says Bystander. Yeah, I feel like now that my phone knows that it's old, I'm getting a lot more phone ads. And yeah, it's halftime, says Rowan Webb. And there as well. But we will get some stats to do with this half, ladies and gents. Lucky you still have 30 minutes, says Lilia B. I think it will last a little while. Like, that's the thing. Like I said, it lasts longer on 1% than it does from 100 to 2%. So, it's good and bad. And Leinster versus Bricks says, good story, bro. And Leinster Lions says 9HF, or 9HD, I should say, and nearly missed the game. Says cited. And I mean, Lions, stupid phone. Says, good story, bro. But yeah, in terms of the stats, Munster did have more possession and also more territory throughout the game. Or at least the first half. Anyway, it could all change in the second 40 minutes. On attack, we're seeing 2 tries for each side. 7 defenders beaten by the Stormers compared to the 4 defenders beaten from Munster. 2 clean breaks for Munster compared to the 1 of the Stormers. And territory actually went back in favour of the Stormers by the end of the half. 55% in their favour. Tackle success, 79% for Munster, 88% for the Stormers. So actually doing very well tackling-wise. Hanging on to life, phone is in survival mode, says Lilia B. And Munster looking slightly better than the Stormers so far, despite the score, says cited. Yeah, I feel like Munster were more clinical. When they got their opportunities inside of the 22, they often capitalised, whereas the Stormers have had maybe 2 or 3 chances that they've just made, like, silly, easy errors, you know, that have just made it a lot more challenging. But in terms of, what's the stat we got? We got clean breaks, Hudson-Berg got 1, Tom Farrell got 1. Damien Valimza has the most defenders beaten out of any player with 3. He's also got the most meters made by the Stormers, and that is with 23. Tom Farrell had 29. Yeah, second half, just around the corner. Do let me know your full-time scores as well. I think we're going to see 4 tries. So just Lions and their Irish team undefeated, says Cool Story Bro. Yep, at the moment, Leinster and the Lions, I believe, are the only 2 sides that have not lost a game as of yet. Lots of silly errors from what I've seen from the Stormers so far. See cited. And yeah, it's just the basics that they're getting wrong. You know, the fundamentals. Just catch the ball is the big one that's hurting them. And also the line-out throws of Joseph Dweba have been really all over the place. They got Andre Hugo Fenta off the bench. Perhaps they'll look to use him a little bit earlier. Definitely because he's made mistakes outside of the not straight lineouts as well. So it does make it hard to keep him in there, I think. And following from Westeras in Sweden. Winter is coming, go the Stormers, give it gas, says Owen. And there, well, it is great to have you here. I assume time in Sweden is probably around 7 p.m, but I could be wrong. It might be closer to 6 p.m, possibly. Thank you for your commentary from Danian and Wayne Peterson. Says Danian there, no worries at all. And like I said, we're going to be back with plenty more in the future. Next week, we've got the All Blacks taking on Japan. We've got the URC contests that we will be covering on the channel as well. And then, of course, the November internationals are getting closer and closer. Springboks in action on the 10th, I believe it is, or the 9th, I think is their first match. Dweber doing Dweber things, says Blazing Koala. Pretty much. My man Joe Dweber's guns are not in sync again. They need to be calibrated at half time, says Cited. Yeah, in terms of that first week of November, there's going to be England versus New Zealand, Munster versus the All Blacks XV, as well as Scotland versus Fiji. And make it hard to keep it there. Title of Famous sex tape. There you go, Grant. You got your one. I didn't steal it from you this time, like I did on the last one. There's actually only 3 games in the first week of November, and 2 of them take place at the same time. That's kind of sad. I wish it didn't overlap for those contests. Then the week after that, that's when we get into some really, really massive fixtures. Bristol versus Australia A is taking place at the same time as Ireland versus New Zealand. It shouldn't be too difficult to guess which one we're doing out of those 2. Then Romania, Tonga, England, Australia, Italy, Argentina, France, Japan, Georgia, and the New Zealand XV, Wales and Fiji, and then also Scotland and South Africa going to be playing on Monday the 11th here, but that will be the 10th in South Africa. I don't know why the New Zealand XV have to play at the exact same time as Fiji every time, but it just seems to be the trend. And that one, then the week after, it will be Ireland, Argentina, USA, Tonga, Scotland versus Portugal, England versus South Africa, and then France versus New Zealand, followed by Italy versus Georgia, England A versus Australia A, and then Wales versus Australia as well. Bristol game for sure. Says 9HD. South Africa versus South Africa 2. Says Emiliano. And then the week after that, there are once again going to be about 7 or 8 games. So it sounds busy, but it actually isn't too bad overall compared to some of the weeks that we did for the Rugby World Cup, as well as the later stages of Super Rugby in the URC. Like, as long as there's no 7s on, which I don't think there is up until the early stages of December, like, we should be fine, I would say. I don't think it's going to be too hectic overall. But yeah, there'll be a lot of streams coming up in the near future, as well as the videos side of things. I think me and Tim will have to film at some stage soon for the All Blacks prediction of what they will go with up against the Japanese. Lol says Rowan in there as well. I'm watching some interesting ads at the moment. I've noticed that compared to New Zealand, other places don't have a lot of ads to do with food. Like here in New Zealand, we have like 6 or 7 ads in a halftime break that are just like, hey, you need to buy a whole heap of food, like pizza and chicken and all those things. And that doesn't seem to be the case. Some other broadcasters, thank you very much, Emiliano, for your donation. It's a pity the Box only play 4 teams. 3, in fact. I would like to see them play all 6 Nations teams up north, says Cited. But yeah, they only get Scotland, England, and Wales. And I know a lot of people wanted that Irish rematch. Sadly, is not an option for November. I know that a lot of people would have loved to see them play France again. Sadly, not an option in November. It is a shame because there are 3 weeks, you know, like, why couldn't France play South Africa in the first week? Or South Africa take on Italy in the first week? You know, there's a gap there that they could have filled, but I guess it's to do with the world rankings and how many games teams are allowed to play and everything along those lines. But yeah, like New Zealand have 5 games. So that's quite greedy. You know, share them round a little bit. That's what I think. Because I think Fiji might only have 2. Well, they might have 3. They have 3? Yeah, no, they've got 3, so that's good. Anything less than 3 just seems a bit harsh, doesn't it? Argentina, I think they'll have 3 as well. Italy, Ireland, and France. Yeah, so they got some decent ones. Oh, yeah. Or so until the Ireland rematch flip. There's 9 HD, yeah. So it's going to be a little while until we get to see those two sides go head-to-head, sadly. But I'm sure it will become worth the wait. Hopefully. That's called a Grand Slam. Tour in Australia is doing that this year. It does not happen too often. Says Grant. Anything less than the best is a felony. Says, cool story, bro, but we aren't too far away from the second half of this contest getting underway, ladies and gents. So if you haven't already, be sure to put in your score prediction as well as who you think will score the next try, because I think we're still in that same boat that we haven't had that next try from when I said that. Or did we? We might have had another try, actually, after I said that one. Yeah, I'd say we're 2 minutes away from the second half. And France still in recovery from the World Cup. They need time, says Lily B. Plus, with their top 14 season, like, they're just out and out all throughout the season going for it. So it is going to hurt some tours. I know that for the New Zealand matches, they're supposed to send over a B or C team. If Munster lost, who's in the final, Hammy? Both South Africa, I reckon. Says Spider Mick. Well, that's the thing. Is Leinster going to be able to break their drought? Because they always are right up there, but they never quite get the job done. How long is half time? It feels like a very long time, I'll be honest. But it looks like hopefully we're only 1 or 2 minutes away from them coming back out. Is world rankings really a thing? It only favours lower ranked teams, says Arthur. Yeah, I mean, it is one of those ones that, depending on the points, depends on what they can get from it. It's like South Africa versus Argentina the second time that they played. Because they were outside of 7 points on the world rankings from each other, it meant that South Africa couldn't actually gain even a single 0.01 from that game. Come on, Munster, says Richard in there. And we have got their... Oh, no, I read about the Munster losing it. But game's not over. It's going to be interesting. Come on, Munster. The ranking system needs to be recalibrated. Really, it's not a good system, says Cited. Like, it's probably not a mile off in terms of where teams are situated, but I think it should be more so based off... Well, you could do it based off wins, but then you're in that situation of if teams have got easier opponents, then that will help them be higher up in those overall rankings. Right, we're ready to go, ladies and gents. They actually had 2 minutes of the second half that they did not show on the coverage that I'm watching, but we're back underway. Stormers have retained their line out. Damien Willemse now. Tackled by Tyg Byrne, 22 metres out from the Munster line. Munster's defence at the moment only tackling at a 78% possession. That means that every once in a while, Stormers can bust through. Weber gets the offload to Murabi now. Paul the Vet. Costa Ben Jason Dixon. Oh, Paul the Vet makes the mistake, but it is going to be an offside advantage against Munster again here. Another offload to Ruan Fenta. And the penalty. Oh, Jean Klein. Realised who it was trying to get the ball off him. It was Ruan now and gave him a big smile and a pat on the head. It shows how good New Zealand has been in the last, since the rankings to be number 1 on average. Says cool story, bro. And who decided if you're more than 10 points away from your opponents, you can't gain or lose any points from the match results. They're just stupid. Any team should gain or lose points from any other team. Says Cited. I think it's 7 rather than the 10, but yeah, it's one of those ones. It's designed... Like, yeah, it is a bit weird, but, like, I can understand it to a certain extent of why, like, a certain side being low. It's just a great thing at the moment that we've got, because lower ranked sides actually have a really good shot of beating the big sides. And over to backup streamers a bit more up to date. Says Grant. And they're currently a rolling maul. So we're currently on 44 minutes 15 through Grant. Whereabouts is that one sitting at? Paul the Vet goes across to Damien Willems, and the ball is loose and behind, and there's going to be another penalty. Number one in through the side, that is against Jeremy Luckman. Maybe Arge Sneyman is the expected Leinster need, says Ilya B. And who gives a damn about world ranking? It's about winning, says Spider Mick. And Box can't gain or lose any points going up north because none of the opponents are within 10, says Cited. I think it's within the 7, is it not? Because that's why Argentina, they were about 7. What were they? They were 7.5 or something like that away from South Africa on the rankings, which meant that because of that, Argentina could gain, but South Africa could not. The only time anyone cares about the rankings is when their team is on top, says Sakabula. Now Joseph Dweber throwing the ball in, going to be slapped away by the Stormers again. And the backup stream is at 45.39. I'm not even at 45.39 at the moment. I'm at 45.30. So I will switch over when we do get a decent stoppage in play. Another big carry coming for the Stormers. Pops it up, Paul the Vet. Goes across to Dan Duplessis. Oh, tackled around the head there for a second. It should be everyone within 10 positions can take points or gain points, says Cited. Now around the side of the breakdown, another pick and go coming from Marcel Tennyson. Almost got held up. Oh, his knee almost went the wrong way too. The Vet goes back to Joseph Dweber. Paul the Vet, Willems, nice hands. Hudson-Berg, Ruanel will run it in. And the Stormers get themselves the try. It is now their third of the contest, which does mean they're in a very good position at the moment. For a moment, we will go like that, and we will go like that one. There we go. Right, the kick attempted by Hudson-Berg and is successful. 21 points to 12. We'll go like that. And like that as well. There we go. Bring back the ranting system. The ranting or the rankings? I already just realized that's a spoiler. It's all right. We have caught up now. Our last play looks more like the Stormers from the past few years. Yeah, like, they actually did very well there. It was just the classic backline of passing it out wide. And it worked. It's the main thing. Nicely taken by Ruben van Heeren, who has made his way onto the field. Which is very handy for the Stormers. And no worries, slots it over Noyce. Damien Willems. Not don't worry. And this Western Province Rugby, don't forget them, Western Province. Yoleka Ding, says Henry. It's going to be kicked downfield from the Stormers, slap back onto their side. Joseph Dweber waiting for it, goes for a little bit of a risky offload by Emil van Heeren, or in fact Ruben van Heeren, is there ready for it. Another run from Marcel Tennyson. Going back to the right-hand side. Here comes Ruben van Heeren again. That man's had like 3 carries in 1 minute. Just tuned in, what did I miss, is on the right. So far, I mean, it was a close first half, 12 points to 14. Stormers going in with a little bit of a lead. Munster having more possession, Stormers more territory. And overall, both sides, they've had a couple errors. Stormers more so handling, Munster with their penalty count. But I think it's going to be a close game. Definitely if we see Munster score again soon. Connor Murray, ready to roll this one back. And Billy Burns sends it high. He has made his way onto the field. Believe for Jack Crowley. Now Paul de Vet goes back across to Johan Nedling for share. Drop ball. Will now be the scrum feed And a WP, I'll lick a ding, says Juan Pierre Bosch. Currently 50 minutes through the contest. One more try needed for the Stormers. If they do want to receive that bonus point, Munster would still need 2 more. 2 more tries would get them into a position of leading in this contest. Thank you. I'm hoping for a Stormers win. Says on the right. Yeah, I think that they'd be pretty happy to get a win here. The Stormers, definitely, because they've still had their fair share of errors. But they always say if you win a game that you've played poorly in, you've done well. And there's still a lot that you can kind of improve on. Ranking Hamish. Ranking mean angry or impassioned, says Spider Mick. And he says another person. I think that's how they said it. Or he, maybe. K. Ryan making his way onto the field. That is for Jeremy Luckman. And also Stephen Archer on for John Ryan. So 2 changes in the front row for Munster. Is Munster missing Snyman? I mean, maybe, but at the end of the day, they've got Jean Klein and they've got Tyke Byrne. So, you know, those 2 are pretty handy. I don't think that, like, it's not as much of a hit as it would be in certain other positions, if that makes sense. Like, they still have a lot of good depth there. So, I don't think so. Like, he's a great player, Aries Snyman, and he's going to have a very strong season for Leinster. But I don't think he's the thing that's missing for Munster at the moment. It's been almost a year since I wished you happy birthday, Hamish. Says, cool story, bro. Oh, another penalty goes the way of Munster. I think that is against Morabe. And Juan Pierre Bosch. And also Stormers Yaulikading, says Jeremy. And there as well. But Jack Crowley, he is actually still on the field. So I think that might have been for Haley that we did see Billy Burns make his way on. Ruben van Heeren had a very busy start. He's making his way onto the park. Decent sized crowd at Cape Town Stadium. And Joseph Dweber now will make his way from the field. That is going to be for Andre Hugo Fenter. Wee P, says Derek. It's probably a factual statement in some regards. Now going off to the left-hand side. Oh, that's a good shot on Jack Crowley by Damien Valimza. Has he got up, though? Yep, he has. He's all good. Connor Murray goes to Crowley now in behind. Haley's actually still out there on the park as well. Now Connor Murray going for the kick in behind. Which backline is more treating or more threatening, in your opinion? I would say that if the Stormers do more of what they did for their 3rd try, definitely the Stormers. But I do think that Munster have still shown some very, very good skills in their backline and some quite strong decision-making. But I'll probably still go the Stormers, just because they've managed to score more of their tries with their backs. Whereas, like Munster, one of their tries was scored by a back, but it was only off the counter-ruck type of thing. Jean Klein now, hitting the ball up again. I must say I prefer the old days of Super Rugby, the South African-New Zealand-Aussie rivalry. And WP, as a factual statement, your humour is underrated, Hamish. Says Grant. Cheers. Stormers in front right. Says Spider Mick, they are ahead by 9, yes. Currently 27 minutes to go. Looks like Damien Valimza, he is not calling for the kicking tee. I don't think. I think he's going to be kicking for the corner here. Stormers need one more try to get themselves that bonus point. Now, Valimza kicks it towards the touchline, and the ball does go out. That's going to be about 15 metres out from the line. Looks like it's going to be now Herschel Yankees who makes his way on. Which isn't a bad choice. Talented player. Well, we all go like that. There we go. We have got there Vattenbrocker. Couldn't tell you, really. Not sure what it means. RWP, WP. Says Derek, have you been working all day? The Lions had an exciting end. So I haven't been working today, but I have been busy today. So in the morning, I coached a kids cricket team because it was their first game of the season. So I got asked to help them out, seeing as their coach was away. So did that in the morning, and then in the afternoon decided I would go up and watch the senior or the highest team play. So they had a T20, so I travelled to go watch them. Got sunburnt, very sad. But yeah, then got home, quick sleep, and then into the URC. I missed the Sharks game, looks like it was a tight, even with the box in it. So he's cited, yeah, it was quite one-sided in some regards up until that last about 3 minutes when Glasgow got 2 quick-fire tries. But overall, I feel like both sides weren't too happy about their performances. The Sharks did do well, though, to be able to hold off up against Glasgow, and Stormers on the winning track. Says Michael, yeah, currently with that 9-point lead, looks like Paul DeVette will make his way from the field for Herschel Yankees, like I mentioned. That's given him 25 minutes to work at the end of this contest. Almost 5 years since the last South Africa Super Rugby games, guys. Truly in the past now. It'll be interesting to see how well the Sharks play with their box back. I mean, they did all right, but I feel like it always takes that little bit more adjusting when they get their big players back. Normally, a game or two just to find that rhythm. And then that's about when the players will be then taken back out. They just clip the champs, says Derek. And did New Zealand beat India? Not yet. So day 5 is today. New Zealand need about 120 runs. I think it is. So, it's doable, but at the same time, if there's rain, that could cause problems. And also, at the same time, India got bowled out for 48. So, New Zealand could find that same situation. And Stormers had a few terrible few games, and they need to step up a lot. Says cited canvas. New Zealand lost to India. When? They're currently still playing. I'm listening to you from Clarence, says Michael. Now, ready to feed this ball in is Herschel Yankees. 68 tackles made, 11 missed for Munster. Normally have a lot higher tackling percentage. I'm going to have a scrum reset. By the looks of it, quite a few of those. And you got bowled out for 48. Why is that not making the headlines on the news, says on the right. I don't know, really, because it's really impressive that they got them out. And then they managed to get 400 in their next innings. So, yeah, I don't know what happened there. Tim Southey, by himself, got more runs than the whole Indian side. That's interesting. The new guy is even worse. Says Derek, who's the new guy that we're talking about? New Zealand lost morally. And Stormers can get up on the log. Can change things, says Henry. Yeah, I think they can go up about 5 rankings. Do you think the South African teams will stay in the URC, or do South Africa fans want them to return to Super Rugby? It's a bit split, I think, in terms of what people want. There are some that want to go back to that Super Rugby, but there are some that are really enjoying the URC and what that brings in terms of the Champions and Challenge Cups alongside it. The Box and the Sharks team only started training on Monday, so they need time to get back in the rhythm. I believe Stormers' backline is a threat to any team. Hamish, you are missing lines. I don't think I am. I see New Zealand lost to India, and then your next one was the new guy is even worse. Are there comments that aren't coming through, maybe, that you've put? URC equals the best league, says Grant. Now Damien Valimza goes across to Dan Duplessis, looping around play. That is very nicely done by the Stormers backline. Hudson-Berg, quick hands to Lillian Zas. Inside ball to Herschel Yankees, who was pushed towards the touchline. Locked over the ball, though, and Munster win themselves the penalty. And yep, says Derek. And super is tough, says Spider-Mick. And kick up Stormers, says Jeremy Jacobs. Just getting a little bit isolated down the touchline there, Herschel Yankees. But from before then, it was actually some very good play. Speaking of very good play, has anyone played Rugby 25 recently? I haven't actually played it since that very first video we did on it. But has it got any better? Is it worth, at some stage, starting up a series? I want to do a Springboks and All Blacks career mode. But the problem is they haven't added those two sides to the game yet, I don't believe. So I have to wait patiently until that happens. I've got the Gallagher Premiership, which could be quite cool. Andre Hugafenta doing well at the back of the line-out. Ruben van Heeren, 45 metres out. Herschel Yankees goes back to Damien Willemse. Chasing after this, it is Hartzenberg. Gets slapped back to Ruan now. Stormers seem like maybe they've upped that tempo a little bit. Watercalant looking for his next pass, finds Marabe. New Zealand. But if I'm not wrong, maybe we can. It's only you in Australia, so no contest there. Says Henry. Oh, counter up coming from Munster. Make it a little bit of a mistake. Oh, we go like that. And like that. Cross kick from Munster, standing. Still was Hutzenberg. I think he's knocked that one on. They will go back for it now. Stormers, you owe yourself. Thoughts on the Bulls red? Your thoughts on the Bulls red? As in like their kit, I assume. I haven't actually watched that game as of yet. I was going to watch it probably later on today. Just because I did miss it this morning. This is the only time I've ever supported the Stormers. Says Derek, please let us stay with the URC because in Super Rugby we definitely play too much rugby, which is not good for the players. Says David. And also back to the game. Where is the ball? The ball is being kicked towards the touchline by Munster off the penalty. Nettling Foucher will make his way from the field. Now, about 8 metres out from the line, it is going to be the line-out throw for Munster. So this is a very important time in the game. They have to score soon if they want to get back into it. We've got to remember they're down by 9. So it isn't just a converted try, it's also something on top of it. That's stolen by the Stormers at line-out time. The perfect steal. And now they will look to clear their lines. Herschel Yankees back into the pocket to Damien Willemse. That is a very good clearing kick. They decide to take it quickly though, Munster. Looking for the counter-attack. They've got numbers. It looks like Haley doesn't want to pass it. And instead gets smashed by Ben Jason Dixon. Oh, flat ball there from Munster, opening up some space. Ball on the outside to Crowley. He manages to bust through one. Ball on the inside. Nash puts it down. And it will now be the scrum for the Stormers. But we're seeing some simple handling errors going to ground from these two sides. It might almost... Are they going back for a penalty? And Ireland must get sorted out when they visit. And Stormers, you go big boys. And South Africa Rugby is better since moving to the URC. Maybe because of the time zones. So here's Sean. Stormers will beat Munster from Wayne and Danian. Oh, this looks bad. Willemse injury. What is it? Shoulder? Rib? I think it's rib by the looks of him. I did say at the start of this game, I might have jinxed him. I might have given them the commentator's curse because we talked about whether or not he was going to be playing as the 10 or the 15 for the Springboks. And I mentioned how he has to make it out of this game injury-free first. But he does not look happy at the moment, Willemse. Looks like something to do with that right shoulder. No one like to play super because they can't take the hit. I don't know, says Grant. And how has the scrum been so far? It's been relatively even. I'd say that the scrum advantage probably to the Stormers. You know, my Kiwi friend, the pronunciation of WP is VP, says QL. Looks like Willemse, he's holding his pectoral muscle here rather than the shoulder. But it looks like he's going to continue. It's a bit of a risk because they've still got Yuri Matia who can make his way on. And how's Damien Willemse going? He's had a solid game. We haven't seen a huge amount of him, I will say, compared to some of the other guys. I think we've seen a lot more of Watercalant in terms of that Stormers backline. But it's going to be the scrum feed for the Stormers now 40 metres out from their own line. And we got a scrum reset. And come on, big boys. Says Mary Just. And all we need is for our Stormers boys to scour their steel in the Cape of Storms. We definitely will win this one. And more in touch with the players in the URC for the Springboks. Says, cool story, bro. Andre Hugo Fenter just having a bit of a conversation there with the referee. Scrum penalties, 2 against Munster, 1 against the Stormers at this point in time. It's currently 6:26 a.m. here in New Zealand, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the evening in South Africa. There is still another game taking place a little bit later on tonight, but we won't be covering that one on the channel. Looks like they've gone down again here. Brock Harris not happy about it. He's been penalised, and it means that Munster now have another opportunity to kick this one towards the corner. Both sides lost last week, that is correct. Please let Damien be fine, says David. Well, he's continuing for now. So I hope it's not one of those situations how he feels like he has to continue, even though he should be possibly going off the field. Why, thank you, Arthur. Oh, did Grant get that membership? Congratulations, Grant, and thank you very much, Arthur, for your generosity. Now it's going to be thrown in. Nicely taken by Tyg Byrne. Rolling ball is stagnant at the moment. Not a lot of marching going forward here. Looks like Clark now will offload it back to Murray Crowley with the inside ball. Missed tackle from Damien Valimza. 5 metres out from the line, Munster. Going across, that's a great tackle from Watacalant. Forcing Tom Farrell back, I would say 15 or so metres, maybe 10. Game feels scrappy now, says Cited. And the question is, who does that favour? A scrappy game. Oh, that's a 2-man tackle and a half on Tyg Burns. Smashed backwards by the Stormers. It looks like there is blood as well. Oh, there's an X. What does that mean from Mike Adamson? I think that means that they have to get him patched up. Oh, you know, he's bleeding quite badly at the moment. Down the forehead. I almost said down the forearm. Yeah, 2-man tackle. Ben Jason Dixon managing to get that hit in. That managed to knock the ball out. Glasgow game will be good. Kerr looking good. Says Honey there as well. Now 16 minutes remaining. They're just trying to stop the bleeding. Don't do it, Grant. 15 minutes left. Andre Hugo Fenter looks like he might actually have a bit of a knock. It's all time for work, Cammy. Catch you sometime in the future. Ka kite. Everyone take care, says Spider-Meek. We will see you later on. Scrappy games benefit the one with fastest wingers, says on the right. And you'd have to say that that probably goes in favour of the Stormers. I think Damien Valimza needs to come off. We do not need him to aggravate the injury, says Grant. And Glasgow is a good side. It's 50-50 now, can go either way. And the big benefit that the Stormers have is that 9-point buffer. Because, of course, you know, as this game wears on, it's going to possibly have a couple of momentum shifts. But as long as you've got those extra points on the board that you can slightly fall back on, I feel like they'll be possibly able to close it out. Thing is, though, it only takes 1 month to try. And then they're right back within 3 if they get the conversion. Just showing Kieran Ryan. He's the player who got busted open. We are going to have another scrum now. This time the Stormers will have the feed 15 metres out from the other line. That's not 6-8 title blocking me, Hamish. Hey, Grant, I agree with you, says David. Well, Wickerley now making his way onto the field. That is going to be for Jean Klein. Not a huge amount of time remaining. Plenty of time to still see, I would say, 2 more tries. That is a penalty going the way of the Stormers. Munster are complaining about that one. I think that's gone against Clark in the front row. Damien Valimza now will kick this one towards the touchline. Has put it out, made sure of it. Last thing that you want is a little mistake, like not putting the ball into touch and having the opposition counter get a try of their own. Does any team seem fatigued more than the other? Honestly, not really. Like, I think both of these sides have still kept a good tempo throughout the second half, and with the subs being made, like, you could argue maybe Munster because they've dropped the ball a little bit more recently, and sometimes that is a sign of fatigue. But I still think both of the sides look fresh enough, like counter-attacking wise. They both look quick. Thanks, Arthur, for the update because I can't see the game. Says David there. Going back across to the right-hand side. It's an advantage in favour of Munster. Connor Murray. Skip pass from Billy Burns. Gets it out wide. Thought about the offload. Thomas Ahern hangs on to it. Now 40 metres out from the line. Slowly building here for the away side. They've pulled off wins in South Africa before. Can they do it again? Cross kick coming from Billy Burns. It wasn't the best one. And well cleaned up by Wadakalant. Now they will go back. Still time against all odds. Predicted a Glasgow win only because they are current champs and won a final. Against all odds, a team that can score 2 or 3 quick tries. Says Arthur, and I mean, that's exactly what they did right at the end of the game. They scored 2 tries in a row to get themselves the losing bonus points. They got 2 from it in the end, which is pretty massive for them. Jeez, that's a big hit. Coming in from the Stormers front row replacements. Now ready for the line out again, although it looks like there is another injury here. Stephen Archer this time has stayed down. Kendallin, his day is done. He's had a decent performance in that number 7 jersey. Stormers struggling to get and keep position. Oh, Crowley would have had the wind well and truly taken out of him with that shot. Still 13 minutes left. We had a lot of stoppage time in this contest, ladies and gents. Looks like there is some strapping going on to the arm of Stephen Archer. We're going to see the replay again of Crowley getting smashed in the shot. It's a big hit. Now ready to throw this one in, John Hodnett. That's not his name. It's Clark, in fact. It was John Hodnett. Where's that name come from? Not even sure. Rolling maul. Connor Murray. Oh, he sold the dummy and got around Marabe. 10 metres from the line. Munster isn't anywhere on at this stage, Robert. Stormers is a good team, says Horny. Our Wadakalant is much improved since he moved to the Stormers. Munster will score. They threaten to score. Around the side there, it's going to be Gavin Coombs now. One more going forward. Can they bust through? Big run from Tom Farrell. Just short of the try line. Great pass out wide. And Gavin Coombs scores the try. And Munster back in this game with time left on the clock. 12 minutes to be exact. That's a big try for Gavin Coombs. He's only recently made his way off the bench. He's at 36. Oh, it looks like he's got cramp already. High tackle. These URC refs are insane. Just so we all know, a solid tackle is now high. And a penalty. Let's keep making up new laws. Balls, we don't need that try, says Grant. And there as well. So now both of these sides are 1 try away from getting themselves a bonus point. Someone has the potential of walking away from this game with 5 points on the board. On the standings, I should say, for the leaderboard. Their kick has gone over 21 points to 19 now. It's going to be intense in the final moments by the looks of it. Coombs just getting a little bit of medical attention at the moment, getting all strapped up around his boot. Limser ready to kick it off once Coombs is ready. Okay, I think Damien Willemse is complaining about Gavin Coombs being down. I think Mike Adamson just said, we got the time off. As close as you said, Stormers have lost only one of their last 9 home games in the URC, a 21-27 defeat to Ospreys in April. This is a stat that I've just popped up, so doing very well. Do you need a coffee? Second time you kind of sort of yawned. Says on the right, well, to be fair, it is 6:35 a.m. here in New Zealand. But yeah, I don't actually drink coffee, so probably not. Now down towards the halfway line, nicely taken by Watakalant. Running this one for Damien Willemse. A great step going through, just trying to find a gap, and he's causing all sorts of disruption in this Munster defensive line. Watakalant thought about the offload. Decides against it. Herschel Youngkies. Oh, it's the knock on from the big man. Although he did manage to regather it, so he's a little bit unlucky there, but because it hits a Munster player, I believe that is what warrants it as a knock-on. He thought he did enough to be able to keep that ball for Suzzy Sunday. They managed to put coffee in the International Space Station, but not in Hamish. Says Sebastian, coffee time. Says Mr. Thing 3. 70 minutes has just passed. For the love of all things holy, hold on to the effing ball, says Grant. It's probably a fair enough statement. They do like to drop it, it would seem. And a Belsum, says Henry. Now Connor Murray feeds the ball into the scrum. Big push from the Stormers, but the ball has bounced out the back. Bacon and eggs omelette for your commentary, Hamish. You deserve brekkie, says Honey. Does sound alright, to be fair, bacon and eggs. Might have to have something along those lines, because then after that, I believe George is coming around and we are filming at like 7:30. That's in 50 minutes. Now offloaded there. What a Calant. Going off to the right-hand side. Ben Jason Dixon finds the offload for Limsa. Goes off to Ruan now. Another offload to Andre Hugo. Fenta, some good pace shown by the big man. But he's dropped. Counter-up coming from Munster. Have they done it legally, though? That is the question. This one looks like it's going to end up as an unplayable. No, it's popped out on the side of Munster. And the penalty goes the way of the Stormers. I think it was a neck roll they've set. Holy moly, Stormers. Come on, boys, says Daney in there. All taking the quick tap was Damien Willemse. Now, that could have been an easy chance at 3 points, but they've turned it down. They've taken the risk, and Munster have taken the ball back. Bad decision from Damien Willemse. So you still get as much sleep as Margaret Thatcher. I do not know how much sleep she gets/got, so, but probably. How far out is the penalty? It was about 45, so it was kickable, but they decided instead to try and run it and score the try. Downfield from Watakalant. Now that is a good clearance from inside of his 22. It's going to be on the halfway line. The line out going the way of Munster. He is not happy about it. Oh, Watakalant. A very bad decision from the World Cup winner Gaza. There's a Danian. So Connor Murray, he has made his way from the field. He would have loved to be out there at the end, but Sean O'Brien now. In fact, no, sorry, it's going to be Coughlin who makes his way on. 7.5 minutes remaining. This is going to be another last-minute thriller. We've seen it so many times at the moment for these two sides. Looks like Nell has made his way on for Dixon. But just in terms of the South African sides throughout the weekend, every game has been split by 4 points or less. And the other two that were split by less than 4 were only split by 1 point. Looks like Clark. Is he going to make his way from the field again? Looks like he is. Really had to rotate him plenty of times. Niall Scannell. Now back out there. Ready to throw in the line out. The Stormers have got them again. Line out time. There has been domination from the Stormers. Marabe, oh, that was almost diving in off his feet. The man who just made his way onto the field now. Herschel Youngkies ready to boot this one high. Are we going to see a negative mindset here? In terms of just booting that ball away? Or are they playing more for that territory? They got the ball back, although he's now knocked it on. No, they've said it's gone backwards. Herschel Youngkies, Margaret, before Hamish's time, very little sleep she had, says Bruce. Now Damien Willemse across to Andre Hugo Fenta. Oh, is that a counter-up coming from Tyburn? No, it's not. And 2 minutes more come on the Stormers, says Andreas Morabi. Again, hits it up. Munster, they've given away the penalty. No clear release. Now, this is a kickable 3. And they have to, Willems has realised this time they have to go for the post. This kick goes over, they will lead by 5. And that will mean Munster need a try with a conversion to win this game. But if somehow Willems misses this one from 33 metres out, it would mean we're still within 3. Take the points, boys, says Danian, and also take the 3, says Grant. They've said no clear release from Gavin Coombs there in the breakdown. For Limser. It's the type of kick that if he ends up in the Springbok kit, he might be expected to take. Should be a nice, simple one. Did he just swear at the ball? I think he just yelled at the ball for some reason. Oh, no, he was yelling at the guy who was holding the ball. Never mind. A little bit of wind around. And, he's got it over. It looked like it was going to start off a little bit too far left, but then came back round to the right. So that is now a 5-point difference between these two sides. 24-19. Coolio is not even from Hamish's time. Says Good Story Row. And yes, Gaza. Says Grant there. And the Stormers says Juan Pierre Bosch. So, with that, 5 points. What a tight round for South African teams this weekend. Exactly right. Very good Stormers, says Henry. An important 3 that could be the difference. The Munster's a bad team. Says WLK. I mean, they're not bad, Munster, overall. Like, in terms of where they finish each year, they're doing pretty well. You know, they won the URC. They were runner-ups in another year, weren't they? 75.5 minutes down. Good penalty for the Stormers. The sad fact is, if that was a Munster home game, they would have gotten the penalty, says BMVZ. And Omani Hook, says Juan Pierre Bosch. It's going to be the scrum on the halfway line, though. Looks like he's still struggling with his pick here, Damien Willemse. I think he's trying to hold off the coach just subbing him off. He's got an ice pack up his shirt, though, so he can't continue playing with that up it, I wouldn't think. Or at least he had something up his shirt. Scrum feed for the Stormers due to the mistake from Munster off the kickoff. I don't think that number 21's allowed to push Herschel Yankees where he did. Now, what a Calant, kicking it in behind, trying to play territory, but well cleaned up at the back by Munster. We're now 5 back with a kick of their own. Awkward bouncing ball. The ball goes to Damien Willemse, who steps around 1, gets through 2, sends it away to Ruan now. Game's opened up now. Herschel Yankees dragged down into the 22. Time left, please, says Danian. At the moment, there are only around 4 minutes, maybe a little bit less, remaining in this contest. In fact, it's probably closer to 3 now. Herschel Yankees going to the right-hand side to Brock Harris. Still need one more try to get themselves the bonus point win here. Back into the pocket. Going for the win. Willemse strikes it and he's got it over. Oh, now he's doing this. What's he? Oh. Interesting. I'm not sure what's happened there. I think Damien Willemse was taunting. And then I think the guys on the sidelines might have said, what are you doing? We wanted the bonus point. And cheers for the comms, stumbled upon it 10 minutes ago, says Craig. Thank you very much for being here. Greatly appreciated. The Stormers, that should secure the win now. Great Stormers don't let win. Now it's kicked off. And once again, another mistake off kickoff. Or is it? No, it's gone the 10. No, he got it just beforehand. Yeah, Crowley, 2 quick mistakes in a row. Looks like another change is being made. Yes, Droppy, says Grant. It's going to be Ewers now, making his way on. But yeah, it was weird the way that, because I think Willemse I don't know if maybe he was just taunting the crowd. But it seemed like after he did it, someone must have said something that he then went, oh, what? As if to say maybe he wasn't supposed to do the droppy, but it will secure the win, and that's the main thing. They still want another try, though, to get that bonus point, because as it's been mentioned many times, those little bonus points are the difference between home finals and missing out. Now we have got there, good win for the Stormers, says BMVZ. I know those forward Stormers, says Henry. And nice says, cool story, bro. So there's going to be another scrum reset on this halfway line. Brock Harris, the experienced veteran. Great to see him still playing rugby. 86 years old. Ready for the scrum. Herschel Yankees. Feed the ball in. And good win for the Stormers. 3 out of 4, not too bad. Only Bulls dropped us. Says BMVZ. Oh, that's too much movement in the scrum. I thought he was going to give a penalty to one of the two sides, but currently on the halfway line, we're going to have the third scrum reset. Munster will be hating this because this is using up pretty much all of the time that they had left on the clock. Bulls are bought a dark cloud of shame. Says, cool story, bro. Yeah, at the moment, this one is the one that is separating the most in terms of the points. Munster, they will want some form of extra points. Get themselves that bonus. Now, ready to feed it in. Herschel Yankees will try this for a third time. In the scrum, it will either work or it won't, but I think someone's getting a free kick here. Brock Harris, 86 years old, says Grant. I'll fit in. Herschel Yankees. That's going to be a big scrum coming from the Stormers. Are they going to get the advantage? Yes, they do. So that should secure the victory. They'll have 30 seconds remaining. Do they want to go for the kick here? No, you got to go for the corner, don't you? You're 8 points up. You've got nothing to lose here. You kick for the corner. You try and get that last try to give you the extra point. I would assume. I'm just waiting to make sure. Yeah, he is going to kick it for the corner. Damien Valimza, big moment here for him. Wants to get it into the 22. And he hasn't kicked it out. Which now gives the ball to Munster. And they will have an opportunity to try and get a bonus point of their own. Looks like it's going to be the big loose head prop. It was the Stormers captain for this game. I'm not actually too sure. I assume it's one of their forwards. Or maybe Ruan Nell would be a decent captain option for them. Looks like Munster are just passing this ball around inside of their own 22. At the moment, not a huge amount of gaps opening up in the Stormers' defence. For Munster, they know that it could be a crucial point. That's a nice pass. Still 20 minutes out. Captain is number 13. Okay, so that is Ruan now. And what a bad line kick by Damien Valimza. Yeah, didn't even get close to the touchline. Unfortunately for the Stormers. Tyke Byrne pops it in behind there. Nice sell at a dummy. Looking for the next pass. Haley manages to bump out a one. Tackled by the man lying on the ground, and Brock Harris. And Dan Duplessis is captain. Oh, okay, so number 12 captain. Waiting for this ball. Stormers give away a silly penalty there for not rolling away. I think that's stop it, but I could be wrong, from Nico. 81 minutes through at the moment. Neither of these sides want this game to end. Both still have the opportunity of getting an extra bonus point. And the thing is, if Munster score, they are actually in the same position as the Glasgow Warriors. They get 2 bonus points from this game. Once again, those bonus points can be the difference between the home games or playing away in the playoff matches. Jack Crowley now will kick that ball into touch. Be just inside of their half. Few deep breaths being taken by the players out there on the field. They know how crucial these last few moments of the game are. You have to stay composed. Scott means kick, Hamish. I did not know that. There we go. Our win is a win. Shame no bonus point. Though it's not over yet. Still a chance for both of these sides. We're currently 82 minutes through. Munster have finally won their own line out. Something that they've really... Oh, it's stolen. And Ruan now will score and get the bonus point try for the Stormers. So the winner's the win. But now they've added the extra point in there too for you, Craig. But they will finish this game 34-19. Our OMG says on the right, yeah, the perfect end. And Ruan now on the outside. Oops, says Kurt. Yeah, it's pretty much the opposite. Like, Glasgow were able to get that point, or the 2 points. And all that Munster have done here is worsen their points differential and also lost by a bigger margin. Well, says Arthur, and getting Ruanel. It was Ruanel indeed. Managed to get himself the try. Try says Juan Pierre Bosch. But big win for the Stormers over Munster, so they'll be looking forward to next week. They are going to be taking on Glasgow in next week's game. And they are now on about a 9-match winning streak at home, I believe it is, for the Stormers. Last time that they lost at home was in April of 2023. Well done, boys, says Patricia. Cheers, pal. Says Craig, no worries at all. And like I said, we're going to be back for those games next week. Munster, they will be taking on the Sharks. Be interesting to see how they go as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in to these 2 live streams. Like I mentioned, we've been away for a little while, but now we're back raring to go. And we've got plenty more coming up in the future as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you all for the next one.